All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We are back here for Just a Fan Podcast.
Awesome.
All right, down below. That's why I'm starting different this time. Down below, Steve White, wide receiver, Morgan State University. Hands better than Chris Carter, baby. That direction. Coming straight out of Swisher House Remix City, Run and Shoot City, Houston, Texas, baby. The Mike linebacker that handles all the calls and everything, all the adjustments. Pando 316 right, what's up?
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Oh, and by the way, yeah, I didn't even introduce myself. Usually I do that. I'm tripping. Anyway, Coach Williams, the NFL Encyclopedia, the Wildcat quarterback that runs this whole thing. Yeah, boy. All right. Let me find out something real quick. So guys, dang. We got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Sunday. The teams have landed this past Sunday. In Arizona. Yesterday and today was media day. Tomorrow, I'm sure tomorrow, Thursday and Friday is gonna be practice. Saturday is gonna be walkthrough, and then Sunday, live 6:30 p.m. Man, it is game on. You can't run, you can't hide, no nothing. So let's talk something. Steve.
Yes.
Give me a player that needs to have a big impact. Not the obvious, because we know quarterbacks always, quarterback always got the ball in their hands. So we know they're gonna have a big impact. But who is someone that may or may not be a big name, but needs to have a big impact to increase their team's chances of winning the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm just be honest, because schemes are different defenses when they see the Kansas City Chiefs. So, and different defensive calls are different from play to play. So whomever has the responsibility of keeping Travis Kelce at bay, whatever player that is, whatever scheme the defense is running, whoever's in charge, trying to keep Travis Kelce at bay. They are because we've witnessed Travis Kelce take games over by himself.
Right.
And the receivers are ancillary. The outside perimeter receivers are ancillary. We've watched Travis Kelce take over games. So that's going to be whoever's job on any particular play it is to make sure Travis Kelce doesn't get catches, which is proven to be a very difficult thing to do in the last few years that he's been in the league. They're important. It's sink or swim.
Yeah. And I think he'll garner a lot. I'm sorry, he'll garner a lot of attention. He's obviously the biggest offensive weapon aside from Pat Mahomes, which is obvious as well. I think it's going to come up to Andrew Wiley, that right tackle. Mahomes is known to scramble. He loves rolling to the right primarily. Um, he's been mowing over players recently. If he can continue that performance, that's gonna be huge. So whoever's on that side rushing, if it's Graham, if it's Sweat, for the Eagles defense, if Wiley can keep them at bay, uh, Philly will have issues. If they can't, then Philly will have their way coming from the left side from a defensive standpoint.
And
All right,
let's
so
not forget that. Let's
go ahead.
not forget that Philadelphia has the I think they're number one in pressures.
Well,
So
they were number one in
that's nothing to
pressures and
sneeze
number one
at.
in sacks because they are actually third of all time in NFL history in most team sacks in a single season.
See,
Mhm.
now
Brandon Graham had
another
like 16
issue.
and a half sacks, two defensive ends, Graham and I'm sorry, what did I say? I'm sorry, Hassan Reddick had 16 sacks. Um, Brandon Graham had like 11. Josh Sweat had 11.
Mhm.
Javon Hargrave in the middle had 11. Even Fletcher Cox had 7. So I mean,
Mhm.
they were racking up
Mhm.
sacks this year.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at.
No,
They
not at all.
I mean,
E E. Hold on real quick, Eric, because I think you're freezing in and out. Might be something with your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but even pressure like from even from the Chiefs side, man. I mean, Chris Jones, Clark, they're gonna the Chiefs, they play so different in the playoffs, man.
They really do.
All regular season, they'll play what they call now mid, and then playoffs come and you're looking at like a stout defense, man, in the playoffs. I've noticed that trend, you know.
Yeah.
I think easily this. I'm not gonna say easily, but I do believe this is probably one of the tougher defenses that Patrick Mahomes will face for the Super Bowl because it's just the way they can scheme different looks for him. You know how we always say like defensive linemen, when it came to mobile quarterbacks, that it's hard for them to be able to pin their ears back and attack.
Mhm.
So it's kind of
Mhm.
like the same thing. All right, you look good now. Art. It's kind of like the same situation in regards to with Patrick Mahomes. He can't pin his ears back and just kind of pick apart this defense easily
Yeah.
because they can send so many different looks at him. It's such a and when you think about a lot of the Super Bowls, especially in the modern era, one of the key things that neutralized some of these high-powered QBs was that the guys, if you have the benefit of creating a pass rush with just four, you can now create all kind of dynamics for
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
I tell you
And
what.
go ahead.
You sure? All right. So, let me say this. First of all, Jonathan Gannon is the defensive coordinator who has Vic Fangio just got a defensive coordinator job somewhere else, but he had Vic Fangio on staff as a defensive assistant. So he runs a lot of Fangio. He's going to run some Fangio 3-4 stuff, but he's also going to be running the front that Fangio created called a penny front, which is 5 down linemen, 1 linebacker. So those 5 defensive linemen, when they on the field at one time, going 1-on-1 against Kansas City's offensive line. So you probably looking at possibly a big on big matchup unless they do a slide with a running back. But I would be careful doing that because that's what San Francisco did a couple weeks ago and got their quarterback hurt. So it's going to come down to somebody. So one of y'all mentioned it in pre-talk about the right tackle.
Yeah.
It's crucial.
So yeah, and Brandon, I mean, you talk about this all the time. Defenses, their goal, especially the front 4 or 7, is to stop the quarterback. There are 2 ways of doing that: overpowering the O line
Yes,
or confusing the quarterback.
yes,
So what you see in a lot of Super Bowls, a lot of big games, defensive looks that completely confuse the quarterback. You think pre-snap, you see something, you hike it, it looks crazy. You're holding the ball longer. You're in the pocket. That's and that's key to stopping the offense. And I
And they
think it's
have
gonna
a rotation.
Yeah, they do have
exactly.
rotation
So they
because
can
you're looking at they're about 4 defensive ends deep and at least 5 defensive tackles deep. They won't be tired at the end of the game unless the time of possession is just that obvious.
Listen,
My bold prediction for this game, as far as Super Bowl MVP, if the Chiefs win the game, my MVP would be Travis Kelsey. He's the one X factor
He's a,
that I'm not sure the Eagles can truly answer for. They'd have to either to stop Travis Kelsey, you're really gonna have to neutralize Mahomes. Like really neutralize him. But if you give him some kind of bailout, Travis Kelsey is gonna be his bailout.
I think
now on that note, Tristan, I think to piggyback on what you're saying, you're absolutely right. Because my first take that I had is whomever has the unscrupulous job of having to cover Travis Kelsey. But there's one thing that we have to consider. Patrick Mahomes is a little gimpy. Now, he's had 2 weeks off, but he's a little gimpy.
You freezing again, Eric. So
Whereas he was more.
yeah, you're right. He is gimpy. If I'm Andy Reid, based off of him being gimpy, and I'm not sure how strong my offensive line can handle this Eagles front 4/5 or however many the guys are gonna line up at the same time. I'm lining up Mahomes and shotgun. Majority of this game, he's lined up a shotgun because it would give him probably the extra time needed to do what he
now
when he needs to do the what you call it, make
also,
plays.
Now I also want to give Kansas City credit because we talk about this is the best defense KC have seen. This is gonna be the best offense Philly has seen. And Pat Mahomes throws at everybody. Pachenko came out of nowhere, playing out of his mind this year. McKinnon has been dynamic this year. Mahomes is making Juju and Valdez Scantling.
There's Tony.
Kadarius Tony. Well, is he active?
Harmon. I mean, guys.
No, yeah, he is. Miko's not, but yeah. Reed knows how to spread the ball and move the ball. So Philly has not seen the offense like them. KC has not seen the defense like Philly.
Yeah, man. Philadelphia's corners are going. The secondary is going to be extremely busy. I know Slay is good. Let me ask y'all a question: did the secondary benefit a lot from this pass rush? James Bradbury, Darius Slay, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because I wonder how good Slay, Bradbury, and them would be if I'm not saying they got me on a trash defense, but if they on someone else's defense that's like average.
Well, they were average. Slay was average in Detroit. Bradbury, they traded him for a reason in New York.
Slay and Bradbury are good corners, but they look exemplary when it comes to that pass rush that's in front of them. And that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They were both at previous locations. If they were those dudes, I'm sure they still would be there. I'm not even bad. They're really good. I mean, they're good.
Right.
But that front and it depends on who you go against too, because
that's true.
That secondary struggled against Dallas.
Yes, they did. They did.
CD was killing big play Slay. And in my opinion, CD is a slightly above average receiver, in my opinion. And if Pat Mahomes has time in the pocket, he knows how to find somebody.
And that's why I said you gotta line him up in shotgun because that would give him an extra second or two to find somebody down the field. And that could really expose a Darius Slay, a James Bradbury, or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
And the thing is, this is one of the most evenly matched Super Bowls I can remember in recent history, because you look at Philly on the offensive side of the ball, it's like KC plays different in the playoffs defensively, more so from an interior standpoint. But I've never known KC to really have a pass rush, to be completely honest. So
So you're
if they
right, KC don't
don't,
have a pass rush, but I tell you what though, Spags knows how to blitz.
true.
Hello.
Steve Spagnuolo knows how to blitz, and now this is going to be interesting because you're going to have the Eagles option offense
Mhm.
and RPO offense against that blitz, man. That's going to be. I'm interested to see how Spags schemed this up. Chris Jones, he has a great 3 tech and Chris Jones to handle B gap type stuff because spread teams, option teams, usually hit B gap and stuff. So that helps. But as far as like the overhangs, the safeties and linebackers, those guys are going to be very crucial in this game as
Mhm.
far as stopping Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Both teams this year
Yeah.
are pretty
So
much equal for the most part. Both teams were 16-3 overall with overall record. I think that includes playoffs. Both teams have scored 546 points, and both teams have 6 All-Pro players. Um, including especially the quarterback, and they both were the number 1 seeds, respectively in each conference. So these teams are almost pretty much evenly matched, man. But um, we're gonna see. We're gonna see which player sticks out because I like guys like you remember Justin Tuck in that first Super Bowl between New England and between New England and New York. I felt like Tuck should have won MVP that year because that defense was giving Tom Brady the blues.
Was that 07-08
Yeah.
season?
07, 08,
Yeah.
that's when New England was.
But their pass rush was ridiculous, man. They
Oh
had
yeah, oh yeah,
Strahan was still playing. They had
sure,
OC
yeah,
Umenyiora.
yep.
Backers, they still had Michael Pierce playing.
Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce
Yep,
playing.
he came over from Washington.
Yeah, I mean, their defense really got them there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They
Yeah,
caught fire. Got the wild card spot.
division round game and NFC Championship game. Yeah, and then it carried all the way over to the Super Bowl. All right, let's switch some topic here. Speaking of evenly matched, let's do position comparison and who might be the best at each position. And we
Okay.
might no, we're not gonna do coach because Andy Reid has just way too much credibility over Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
Oops.
so quarterback.
So let's go quarterback.
Doing-
I mean, do we need to do quarterback yet? Because Jalen Hurts don't have
Yes. We need to do
okay, well, that's
quarterback.
fine. Who has the better quarterback, Pando?
Right now, it's Patrick Mahomes because of his experience in big games. Let's be honest. At the beginning of this season, we were like the Eagles. We were saying the Eagles were going to go as Jalen Hurts went because none of us had faith in Jalen Hurts, right? So
Right.
Listen,
I definitely
now
have
he's
faith
an
in Jalen
MVP.
Hurts, and I still don't.
everyone knows Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback by far, really
No,
in
no,
the
okay.
NFL.
And I understand what you're saying, Steve. And Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback right now. But what does it say about Jalen Hurts if he plays out of his mind in this game and wins it? Let's say he gets Super Bowl MVP.
Then he'll win it. Then he won't be the. I mean, then he'll. What do you mean by that? Then he'll win it. He'll definitely be elevated for sure, but because of Mahomes' resume,
that's what I'm saying. Like, okay,
it's still
because
he's still
he
not
won
gonna be
this
known as
big
being
game.
better than him. Yeah, he's still gonna be known as better than him
No,
because
no,
we
No,
know.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Not saying
What
it.
you saying?
That's my question. What do you mean by what will it say?
And what will it say about his legacy? Because again, I want to go back because a lot of us were in the preseason before this season started. When we doing our preseason picks and talking about all this stuff like that, we were like, hey man, what are the Eagles gonna do? Because Jalen Hurts is their quarterback.
No.
We said that.
I was no.
That
I was
was
the
the
lone
pivot
one.
point. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback.
No, because me and Brandon went at it. Actually, I was the lone one that says he's been getting better every season. I was also the lone one that said they have the best roster in the NFL. So I think
Yeah,
I've noticed him getting
I
better.
remember that.
If he wins the Super Bowl, he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's that can put him in, because there's talk now like if Pat Mahomes retires, is he going to be in the Hall of Fame? I don't think Hurst would be in the conversation. Like if Hurst retires now, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think that'll be
Okay,
there.
no, I'm not.
And Eric,
I'm not comparing Pat Mahomes and
Eric. The man's played 3 years of football, and this is best season. Like this is 1 year. Like I need some more body of work. Okay.
that's fair. That's fair. But would you say that? Would you say that it silenced some of the naysayers that were naysaying Jalen Hurts before the season started? Would that shut some people up? Do you think that would be, or would they say, "Oh, that's a fluke because Kansas City's defense really isn't that good"?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Just because he won the Super Bowl, but like I said, it's 1 year. I still need a bit. I still need more. I need more. You know what I'm saying? Like if he wins the Super Bowl,
absolutely.
I need you to.
Yeah.
I need you to show me more for like another 2 or 3 years worth. Then we can start having more conversation. Because this man can win Super Bowl MVP, and fall flat on his face from now on, starting next year.
That's what I'm saying. So, or he could win the Super Bowl and then be one of the elite quarterbacks in this league for the next 4, 5, 6 years.
And that's true. And that's true.
But I think,
and that's why I'm saying I need to see more after the Super Bowl.
I'm with you, Brandon. But I think also when it comes to being elite, it comes to it being on your shoulders. Like we know for a fact, Philly has a great defense, and it helps them a lot.
Of course, it
Kansas
does.
City doesn't. Green Bay with Rodgers hasn't always had one. So we're talking about great quarterbacks. We're talking about them putting the entire team on their back, and getting stuff done. If he does win, he'll be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but the defense helps him, right? Like you look at quarterback, you look at the best defensive teams. If their quarterback wins, you're not going to say they're up there. It's like, all right, you're good, but like you had a lot of good help, and you should have the help. You should have the help, absolutely. But to be great, I need to see a whole lot more, like Brandon said.
Okay,
yeah, I need
so
more.
I think the three of us are in the consensus that advantage Kansas City at quarterback.
Right. Okay.
Running backs. I'm going to say put
running backs versus Philly running backs. I got Philly running backs as a group because I'm looking at Kansas City, and I see Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I see McKinnon, but Philadelphia's like 3 or 4 running backs deep.
But Kansas City's about 3 running backs deep.
Who's the third running back?
How you gonna forget about Pacheco?
Who?
Pacheco?
He's one. He's number 1 for them, actually.
Oh, he's a starter?
Yeah,
okay, well,
but
Ronald Jones. Yeah.
Hilaire's bad.
Helaire, McKinnon, Ronald Jones. Yeah, they have running back depth for sure in KC.
That's why, in my opinion, the advantage is a push. It's a
Okay.
I think they on even ground when it comes to running backs.
Well, I think KC has better running backs. I mean, I know Philly has let off against bums when they've been up by 30, 40 points. You'll give Boston Scott, Barnwell carries, and they've had big carries, but like you'll have McKinnon. Like I'm talking about KC, at least KC's top 2, they're in the regular rotation. Like McKinnon will score more points than Pacheco in a 1-score game. Like he'll have more yards. Like you just never know. They just spread the ball so evenly throughout their offense, man. You just never know. They use everybody in KC. He
I'm
went
mad
to
I didn't
post
have.
game.
Yeah, I'm mad I didn't have McKinnon on my fantasy team. Honestly, this year because he racked up some fantasy points.
Did I have him? I might have had him somewhere.
No, I didn't have him, and I should have. But so in my opinion, I think it's pushed. There's no clear cut advantage at the running back with the running back rooms of these teams, especially with the return of Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay.
You know, he got fresh legs. He's coming off injury. Now that the Russ could because he's coming off injury.
You know
be able
what?
to play, but
And that point was brought up.
yeah. So very good, Damari. Make sure you write that 2-page paper to Coach Logan. I ain't forgot. I ain't forgot. All right, so,
better listen too, because I
Yeah.
know. Anyway,
Okay.
keep it moving. Wide receivers. Philadelphia's wide receivers of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, amongst others, versus Kansas City wide receivers of Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster, amongst others. Who has the better wide? Not tight ends. Wide receivers only.
I'm gonna go receivers with KC. Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez Scantling. That's a lot. And Juju, I think AJ Brown's really good. Devontae Smith is good, but then the third receiver, I gotta look him up right now.
McCole Hardman,
No, for Philly, because Nicole won't be active.
Quez Watkins.
That's
Yeah.
right. There's Chris Watkins.
Quez
Yeah.
Watkins.
I just think KC's receivers require a little bit more attention. Now, AJ Brown single-handedly for Philly, yeah, but Monte Smith is around the average receiver. Quez Watkins, I didn't even know the guy's name. It's no shade to him, but you talking about
Well, honestly, I forgot the name until Eric said something. I knew the
Yeah.
name, but I just forgot.
Kadarius, Juju. I'm gonna give them the edge on that, especially because KC, man, their offense, the way they break down, the way their plays are designed, and where plays break down, they find a way to get open. It's just still better, a little better than Philly's way of playing ball.
I'm gonna say it is. And I've said it in previous weeks during this season. I think the departure of Tyreek Hill actually helped their offense because it made it more dangerous because you never knew who was going to get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It really made all of those receivers a viable target, as opposed to we need to focus on Hill. And now you got all of these receivers who are very capable, and that made their offense, to me, in my opinion, made that offense way more dangerous because of that.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. I still also think that Tyreek Hill, he's still opening the offense too. I think because if he runs straight as fast as he can, you got your secondary down there with him.
Of course, yeah, he blows the top off his zone coverage easily. So I
agree with that.
Get that. I get what you're saying, Steve, and I get what Eric's saying. But early in Mahomes' career, when they played the AFC Championship game and lost to New England made sure they had double coverage on Tyreek Hill the whole game and took him out and said, "Look, you're going to beat us another way." And so they were able to. New England was able to beat them, but now it's like, who do I give my attention to the most outside of Travis Kelce? Which wide receiver? And it's like,
it's literally like a military blanket party. You don't know where you're finna get hit from.
Exactly.
So it's like, yeah,
and not just that. It's more difficult in my opinion. Because Kadarius, in my opinion, I would choose Kadarius Toney because he's the fastest. He runs the best routes, in my opinion, out of the three receivers.
Okay, now, how good is his hands? Because we can talk speed all day long, but if the hands ain't there all the time on a consistent basis, then it's just
I couldn't finish. I think he's the best receiver. That's pretty much what I'm saying. He's the best receiver.
Okay.
Okay, so I tend to agree with Steve, and in my opinion, I have Kansas City with the better receiving core. AJ
I agree.
Brown is amazing, but his supporting cast is not as thick as the receiving room for as deep as the receiving room is in Kansas City. And my opinion is that Kansas City has the advantage as far as receivers. So we have quarterback, we're even at running back. And
We got Kansas City's wide receivers.
receivers is Kansas City. All right.
Okay.
So
What
moving
about
on.
fullback?
Tight end.
Fullback.
Who got a? Does Kansas City even have a fullback?
Philly don't have it on their depth chart. Philly has Michael Burton.
Hey, he's trolling his own show, man.
We can skip fullback. Okay, let's yeah.
He's trolling on his own TV, his own podcast. He's trolling.
All right. For tight end, Zach Ertz, not Zach Ertz, excuse me.
Dallas Goedert.
Thank you, Dallas Goedert, and company. Versus Travis Kelce and company.
I think we can skip this one as well.
Yeah, man. Come on. Dallas Goedert is good. I ain't saying he trash anything, but come on. When you trying to line him up and put him next to Travis Kelce, no.
Different ball game.
No, man. Yeah,
man. Different ball game, man.
yeah. It's not even like, I mean, and I'm a diehard Niners fan. If you put George Kittle next to Travis Kelce, I'm still gonna say Travis Kelce. And George Kittle is a dog. Mm-hmm. But Travis Kelce right now, these last probably 4-5 years has been the man at tight end.
He's like 7-time first team All Pro, 6 or 7. It's a done deal. That
man's great. That man's great walking to the Hall of Fame when he retires.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You advantage KC. Okay.
Yeah, it's not even a conversation.
Offensive line.
Okay. I like this one.
I'm going Philadelphia.
I'm gonna change the conversation slightly when it comes to this topic. Because we have to change it when it comes to pass blocking and run blocking. And I know it's the same talent there, but Philly run blocks much better than they pass block.
Yeah.
Much better, because we're talking about as far as being as agile and speed to pull, to move down the field is a different thing. Philly has a great O-line when it comes to run block. Pass block is a little different.
Okay, watch me.
KC, a little better at pass blocking and run blocking. I mean, they still run block well, but Pachenko is a big part. He's just a dynamic back that really makes them look better than they actually are when it comes to run blocking.
So who do you? So overall, Steve.
I gotta say Philly. I'll say Philly.
I got Philadelphia right now.
I'll say Philly.
Brandon, what say you?
Philadelphia's offensive line better than Kansas City.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So Philly has the offensive line. Okay.
But I said that real quick, sorry, so that you can pay attention to during the game what they're looking like depending on what they're doing play-wise. So just keep that in mind.
So, okay, real quick. When we say pass blocking, we're not including RPOs, right? We just talking about regular drop back passing.
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna be watching that. Thank you.
Okay.
Defensive line.
Yeah, D line.
Philly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this. On paper, no, seriously, on paper, and I'm not being biased, on paper for sure. But as the season has went on, who they brought in, Linville, Sue, I'm gonna give Fletcher his I'm thinking interior right now. They haven't been able to hold up a whole lot. Because who they brought in, they're underachieving compared to what you would expect of them based off of who they have in there.
I will say this. I will say this. I agree, because run stopping, they're not good.
Exactly, because
pass rushing, they're fantastic.
And this is why. Because so we said Philly had a better O-line. with age, you're better at pass blocking. Philly has an older O-line. So with age, you don't got to move a whole lot. Philly has that age on their O-line. Now, when it comes to running, pulling, double teaming, that takes a lot of energy for the old fellas. So what I'm saying is Philly's defensive line going against a younger KC O-line when it comes to running, they struggle. And they will struggle, rather. They will struggle in this upcoming game, but they struggled against younger O-lines when it comes to the run game. On paper, Philly, but you got Clark, you have Chris Jones, and Chris Jones is better than Fletcher Cox, in my opinion, and Linville and Sue. If he collapses that pocket, it's a different conversation we're having.
Okay, so Eric James says it depends on how Jones is blocked and if the rest of the Chiefs D line shows up, which has occasionally shown up.
True.
Okay, and I agree with that, but we know that Jones is like the man for KC's D line, whereas you have several dogs on Philly's defensive line.
On paper, though, I mean, okay, not on paper. Sorry, you're right. And I'm thinking, and I like his comment because if we remember last year for KC, Jones had some trouble. He didn't play a whole lot last year. He's playing this year. Now they have Fletcher, they have Sue, Linville, they have the edge rushers. If N'Kobe's in the pocket, folks like that. You said what?
If who's in the pocket?
Sorry, if N'Kobe's on the edge. Sorry,
N'Kobe.
Kobe Dean.
I thought he's a middle linebacker.
I'm saying if they move him there, which they have before this season.
Oh, because at one time he wasn't getting a lot of playing time at all.
Right. So if they move him, if they move Graham to the outside, then yes, on paper, absolutely, Philly's D line is doing it. But KC, like I said earlier, KC's D line, their defense in general shows up in the playoffs, man. They show up, man. It's a whole new team.
Yeah, KC, like I said in pre show talk, man, Spags know how to get that team going on defense.
And if I know we haven't gotten there yet, I'll wait till we get to the other units.
Okay, so defensive line, I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles, they own both sides of the trench.
Okay.
I feel like they own the offensive line and the defensive line.
Okay.
Kansas City, although they're good, because obviously you got to be that good to get to this game, but if you got to go with an advantage, my advantage is Philadelphia for defensive line.
Okay. Yeah.
Linebackers.
I gotta go Philly. It's not, in my opinion, it's not even up for debate.
The only linebacker I know for Kansas City is the guy that was rookie last year or 2 years ago. What's his name?
Number 50.
Yeah. Why am I drawing a blank?
Gay?
No.
Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, Leo Chenal.
Hold on. Yeah, Nick Bolton. That's the one I want to think about. Nick Bolton.
Bolton. Mm-hmm.
Bolton. That's the only linebacker I know off the top of my head. Phillies linebackers outside of N'Kobe Dean, who I mean, unless the playing time has increased, I just don't know if he's
Reddick.
See, I don't consider Reddick as an off-ball. I don't consider him as an off-ball linebacker. I consider him
I don't either.
No, just linebacker. Just linebacker.
Right. So when I say linebacker, I mean like a true off-ball linebacker. I mean like a Fred Warner. I mean like a Dre Greenlaw. I mean like a Roquan Smith.
But off ball that's just one spot of line. We're talking depth chart at this point.
Steve.
The linebacker position.
Steve. Hassan Reddick is an edge rusher. I don't care if it's linebacker or defensive end. He is an edge rusher. He's not a true off-ball linebacker. He's not Devin White. He's not Levante David. He's not Roquan Smith.
I'm talking linebacker.
Yeah,
He's a TJ Watt.
He's a linebacker.
Yeah,
He's
but
a
plays
TJ
plays
Watt
well.
on the edge.
Michael
coming off
Parsons
the
is a
edge.
linebacker. Michael Parsons is a linebacker.
Steve's not wrong. According to the depth chart, they would still be
They're a
counted as
linebacker. I don't care where you put them. We're
Yeah,
talking
they
about depth chart
All those guys
position.
you named.
Fine.
We're going
Okay,
position
well,
by
okay,
position,
Well,
depth chart position.
We would do Steve's way then. Fine. We'll do Steve's way.
This is legit depth chart NFL roster way.
Yes,
He is a linebacker.
I have to
Okay,
agree with
fine.
you.
All right, that's cool. We'll go that way then. Philadelphia wins because of Hassan Reddick being a linebacker.
No, Brandon, you cannot treat it that way.
No, you say he's a linebacker, so I'm putting him as
Brandon.
a linebacker. Philadelphia wins because
Brandon.
I didn't say this. That's
Brandon,
his legit position.
because you're taking it in a way of it's personal. No,
I'm not taking a personal. What I'm saying though is
the unit that they have by unit, he counts as a linebacker. TJ Watt counts as a linebacker. Michael Parsons counts as a linebacker by the unit that they're assigned. Yes, their specific duty is as an edge rusher, but if we're saying unit by unit, they are all linebackers. You're thinking of like traditional Mike and Sam linebackers. It's not like
I'm also thinking modern times too.
No, they're legit linebackers. Let's take it to our team, Brandon. Right. So we have we have DeMarcus and we have Dorrance or Sam Williams. Right now we edge rush Micah, but if we need an extra backer, we ain't putting D-Law back there to drop back. Dorrance ain't gonna be out there covering no tight ends or
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So that's their position. Wherever they're put, that's up to the coach.
And
but that's their legit position.
That's fine, Steve. I had dropped the argument. So Hassan Reddick is a linebacker. Philadelphia wins at linebacker.
He's a Sam linebacker, according to the depth chart.
The Eagles linebackers aren't winning because Hassan Reddick is a linebacker. Their unit is just better than Kansas City's unit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we doing the dance puppets dance. Okay, so yes, I got to give the edge to Philadelphia for linebackers as well. And honestly, we move back to the secondary. I got to give it to Philadelphia too.
Yeah. Oh, that's without question.
Yeah, I mean, because you lost Ward in free agency. I don't know who you replaced him with. You tried to replace Tyrann Matthew. I don't know how that went. So
let
me get to that.
Huh?
Yeah.
So
that was
that's what I'm saying. Like
that was their that was the biggest probably rotten mistake they've made in recent history. If Tyrann retires today, you can argue, you can Google, he is a Hall of Famer. Look at his credits, his resume. He's young. You would not believe what you see when you actually research that fact.
He'd be one that they would consider after a first couple rotations.
He gonna get in. If he stopped now, 5 first-team All-Pros, he's gonna get in eventually.
He'll get in eventually.
He's not even 30 yet.
That's how I felt about Joe Hayden, but Joe Hayden don't have a chip. That's what's going to keep him out.
Right. I really Philly reminds me a lot of I can't even say. I want to say the Rams, but I really want to say Tampa as well. They have a lot of names that
I would say Tampa.
They have a lot of household names, especially on defense that but the product has not translated, in my opinion. You see the Slay, you see the Gardner, CJ, I can't even pronounce his name. You know what I'm talking
about. Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, you see Ndamukong Suh came in week, whatever. The names are there. In Madden, I'm looking good. But as far as the product they produce, this ain't the Suh from 2016, 2017. I know he won it with Tampa. It's ain't the Darius Slay.
This ain't even the 2017 Eagles defense.
That's what I'm saying. Darius Slay.
They were dogs.
he ain't that second year guy in Detroit that was good. You know, it's just, they have a lot of names, and they went all in to bring all these free agent names up in here. Now, I don't want to jump the gun because we got a big game coming up on Sunday, but they're gonna be decimated this offseason roster wise.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They went all in.
This is a do or die right here.
Oh,
I think
for
Howie's
sure.
aware.
This is definitely a do or
He's aware
die.
of that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they know that they have to get it done right now, Sunday.
Even though they have 2 first-round picks, it's still you're losing veteran experience. It's good. It's good to have rookies that can ball out as they have to ball out.
Absolutely.
But honestly,
when you lose veteran experience, you lose a whole lot.
But when you look at that team, they won't be down for long. If it depending on how they draft defensively, more so defensively, and their offensive line.
Yes.
Depending on how they do with those two, it won't be down for long.
And they actually draft well offensively.
Them skill positions. You gotta realize, whatchamacallit, he's gonna be due for a payday. But everybody else is locked in. Jalen Hurts.
Well, not him. They gotta pay Miles Sanders. So
they might let him. They might let Miles walk.
They might.
Philadelphia can get running backs.
Because Nick Sirianni he just hasn't used Miles Sanders the way Miles Sanders really need to be used. I don't know what their beef is with each other, but
the thing with Philly, I know we're kind of going off on tangent. They've recently gotten well at drafting skill position play. There's probably a decade gap of missing when it comes to drafting skill players early.
Oh, absolutely.
In the draft, you know, they hit on Miles. Devontae Smith is still kind of out there. They missed on Jalen Rieger.
Jalen Rieger.
They missed like Ray Charles at a gun range on that one.
Matthews at wide receiver and
Eric, what
do you say? What do you say?
I'm not gonna repeat it.
I said they missed like Ray Charles at a gun range. That was a big miss. We talking about Jalen Rieger, ain't we?
All right.
I can't even hold it in, y'all.
Where's the lie?
So
terrible.
Where's the lie?
This guy, man. Someone come get this guy.
That's what y'all brought me on the show for. To be controversial.
Okay.
What?
I think
what I say?
I don't think we gotta discuss I'm not messing with you, man.
Wait, are you Steve? Are you not sold on Devontae Smith?
I think it's still out there a little bit. I think last year when he was there without AJ Brown, because he was drafted, he won the Heisman. He was supposed to be the number one guy. He didn't show that last year. Now AJ Brown come and helped him, but in my opinion, I put him in the same category as like CD, to be completely honest.
Well, I would. Well. So what if I told you I felt that it was a mistake when they drafted him to be that number one? I think he needed someone to be with him,
which proves my point as far as them missing on drafting skill positions early. Like I feel like
when you draft a guy that Steve, I'm sorry not to cut you off, Steve, but I get what you're saying. When you draft a guy that high, you expect there's a certain expectation, and he hasn't reached that expectation yet. And the jury's
I don't think
we're not saying he's not going to get it.
Okay, so Trishan, that's kind of a miss because when you draft a receiver in the first round to be that anchor wide receiver, when we're going,
I see your point in that, but they made up for the miss by getting AJ Brown because Devontae Smith's been able to show out since he's been there.
And basically, the statement is being made that
they don't draft
Smith is Robin. He's not Batman.
Listen, no one. When to Devontae Smith, I'm putting him and CD in the same category.
I can agree with that.
Same frame, same height, same weight. If you're that size, you need to have blazing speed because you're not strong enough to beat the press.
And a technician.
Your hands aren't the best. You're not the best route running. If you're that size, if you're 180, 190, you have to have 4.2 speed. To even be in the conversation to being a true number one receiver.
It's why DK Metcalf gets away the way he does because it's a big body that runs a 4.3. It's just like what do you do with it?
And that's why I'm like, all right, but they struggle. I mean, they'll have big games against bad teams because they can, exploit teams with the route running or whatever, just not good teams, rack up a lot of yards, which comes to their end of year number stat wise, but it's like no one's doubling you guys. No one has to double you guys. You know.
I'm not going there because Steve said something that brought my attention, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Anyway, yeah,
Now, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Those two I
secondary.
mentioned
We
aren't the
went
best
off on a
receivers in the
tangent.
division.
We went
Sorry.
on a tangent for a minute there. So we were talking about secondary, and I think that the advantage of the secondary right now, it had to be Philly.
Yeah.
So basically, the whole defensive side of the ball
Philadelphia.
is Philadelphia. The offensive line we gave to Philadelphia. And everything else besides running back is Kansas City. It's a push at running back.
And
quarterback.
Quarterback, yeah, that's what I mean. I said everything else. I mean quarterback, receiver,
yeah.
tight end.
It's why the odds makers say the Eagles are supposed to win this game. The outlier is that they just believe Patrick Mahomes will be superhuman and find a way to pull it out.
Andy Reid,
It makes for a good
I really think his experience
really helps.
is just a lot of people on this KC team have been to this game before.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in Philly have not.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so we're talking press week, family coming in town, hanging out, mental preparation. You know, it's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing. And if you've never been there, you may be at a small disadvantage.
Yeah, I think Jason is
Jason.
I think Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson been in the Super Bowl.
Like who's from that team? Graham
was a rookie. I think Graham was a rookie, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he ain't a lot of them. There's not a lot on that roster.
But I mean, from a coaching man, like Brandon, on the sideline.
Oh man, that makes
these games get emotional, man.
It makes a world of a difference.
These games from coaches get emotional. We talking 4th down and 1 on your 40.
And you know what? Hey, Steve, sorry to cut you off. That's a very good point when you say getting emotional. Nick Sirianni is a wild dude. If something don't go right in Philadelphia, one wrong thing that could trigger him, and he get all emotional and stuff.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about they run a play you feel like was a jab at you. You know what I'm saying? Insulting your intelligence. It's like, shoot, 4th and 1 on my 50, man. F them. I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna stick it to them. Dude, it's different, man, in this kind of game. It is different, man. And I also think Andy Reid, man, and Eric Bieniemy and everybody, they have their composure. They know how to move in these spaces, man. It's gonna be a very good game.
Guys, I'm counting only 5 guys from that 2017 Eagles roster. And then I guess you can probably count Sue as a Super Bowl participant because I think he was there. Was he there in Tampa Bay when they beat Kansas City? Or no?
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
He got it with them. He also played with the Rams. Also played with the Rams against Tom Brady when Tom Brady won his last year in New England.
Okay, so he's been Super Bowl twice. So you're looking at 6 players overall that's played in the Super Bowl from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna really have to follow those guys who've been there. But like I said, coaching makes a big difference as well.
And I think what's going to help Philly a lot, man, Jalen Hurts, he seems so locked in, man.
He really does.
He seems so. And I said it last year during our show when they barely made the playoffs. Even before that, midseason last season, I said he's getting better. He's getting a lot better. Getting better, week by week. And he's. You know what separates, and I think he's going to be great. Eric, to our conversation earlier, I think he's going to be great because you know what separates great quarterbacks from tier 2 and 3 ones?
Maturity
and how they respond. Look at post-game interviews of people who are great and people who are not.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who are not great is smiling, joking, and stuff.
Yeah, you said that before.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Dak Prescott. You know, they're laughing and stuff. I ain't seen Jalen Hurts smile yet
Yes.
in the post game. Rodgers will smile maybe in the off season. Brady don't.
Somebody asked him.
I've never seen Ben smile.
No, somebody asked him a question. I'm sorry to cut you off, Steve. But I'm just piggybacking off you because I agree. Someone asked him a question in one of the post games. They were just like, Jalen Hurts, you know, with everything that you went through in college and how you came into Philadelphia, how do you feel about winning the NFC Championship and blah blah blah? And stone face, he was just like,
yeah,
we still got another game,
dude.
It was just clear, ended right there. We still got another game,
dude. Some of these guys are locked, man. Even Russ, you know what I'm saying, when he was in Seattle, locked, man.
Yeah, right.
You know, then you'll have the Kirk Cousins, you'll have the Kirk Cousins, you'll have the Dax, you'll have the whoever else smiling, joking, like, oh yeah, you know, hey, we did good, man. You know, it's like you're not focused, man.
Nah. Tom Brady used to always be locked in.
Oh, yeah.
Peyton Manning used to always be locked in. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Even Rivers for the most part. He was out here and there, but he was locked on. I'm talking about when they win the game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when they actually win the game, man. So yeah.
Okay. It's gonna be good, man. I'm excited to see it. I think this is probably the first Super Bowl I'm like really going to enjoy in a while.
Yeah.
Like thoroughly enjoy. I think the last one that I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I mean, and I'm kind of asking this question off cuff, so I could be wrong if I really thought about it. But I think the last one I really enjoyed, honestly, was the Steelers Cardinals.
That was a good one.
That I like really.
09. That was 09.
Yeah, like what I mean by really enjoyed, I mean like really sitting there watching two teams it was just anybody's game back and forth.
Oh, man, it was a lot of good games since then, T.
But I think that's the one I enjoyed where I was like looking, like I was stuck looking at the screen.
Okay.
Just wondering what was going to happen. It's just me personally. I'm not saying like this is the best one since.
I got you.
Just for me personally.
So
that Saints Colts one was good too the next year.
Saints Colts one was good.
Yeah, that was my question. Does anybody have any kind of predictions whatsoever?
We'll start with you, Brandon.
Damn. I wasn't even ready yet.
Okay, we want us to come back to
No. Hold on. All right. I think Chris Jones has 2 sacks in this game, and it's disruptive enough where Philadelphia's going to have to be forced to pass the ball more than they want to. I'm not talking about RPO stuff. I'm talking about regular drop back passing. Shoot.
Now Jalen can drop back now.
I didn't say he couldn't, but I just don't know if he can do it as much as he may have to this game. So I'm gonna give Kansas City a victory by 2 points. I don't know what the score is, but Kansas City by 2 points. Chris Jones. Go ahead. Anybody?
All right. Brandon has Kansas City by 2 points. Steve?
Okay. I'm gonna give 2 scores that I think is gonna be 31-28 or 28-24. I'm gonna have to go KC.
Okay. Tristan.
Conventional wisdom should be the Eagles. But watching what Patrick Mahomes did in the AFC Championship game when he rested that ankle for 1 week, and now he had 2 weeks to rest that ankle.
Look, man, that medical spent the night with Patrick Mahomes. You understand me? They spent the night with Patrick Mahomes. They in the hotel room right now with Patrick Mahomes, making sure that ankle is straight.
I think I'll take Kansas City by 3, and the reason even in the Super Bowl that he lost, he looked like the best player on the field. It just I can't count him out. I can't.
And this is my last point. I have to say this. Cincinnati has a better offense than both of them.
Yeah.
Casey and Philly.
Yeah.
I won't even question that.
When you look at skill positions, yeah, for sure.
And they just outperformed them. You know, I gotta say it.
Yeah,
I gotta say it.
yeah. It's no knock on the Eagles. It's just this is Patrick Mahomes' world, and the NFL just got to live in it. It's
Yeah.
really what it is. So
My goodness.
yeah,
E,
Well, my thoughts on it are I still like that Eagles defense.
hey,
I get it. I get it. I get it.
That Eagles defense, it's not so much about Jalen Hurts. It's about the Eagles defense. And the last time Kansas City saw a really good defense, the quarterback didn't have to do too much. And they ended up losing the Super Bowl. They would have lost the Super Bowl against San Francisco if there was a coach smart enough to run the ball with 6 minutes left in the damn game.
it's true.
So I think Sirianni is smart enough. I think that defense is going to do enough. And I think that I think Philly's. What does he say? The Gardner Minshew would
Prediction: if Philly's offensive line can't minimize Chris Jones, Gardner Minshew would throw at least one pass in the Super Bowl.
Oh, he said they're gonna take him out the game.
I do like one of them trick plays.
Now I'm gonna tell you what. Well, I ain't
I
gonna say
wouldn't
that.
put it past Nick Sirianni.
But Sirianni, like, he knows what he's up against and he knows what he's dealing with. So
Yeah,
I don't think so, man. I think he'll make an emotional decision that's gonna screw them over at some point.
And that could happen.
well, if he's gonna do it, it will be this game.
Right.
Yeah, but I still like I always err on the side of defense. And right now, Philly has a stronger defense. They have stronger trenches on both sides of the ball.
and
I like Philly by 3.
can you put that comment, Brandon,
Back up.
that Eric made?
Yeah, I got you. Give me one
Eric
second.
James, the ones that said not to compare, the not to compare comment that he put up.
Oh, okay. I see it.
That is a very true statement. Jalen Hurts has been to how many national championship games in his college career? Like 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That is very, very much the case to think about. As far as him, the lights ain't big for him. He played at Alabama.
Oh yeah. No.
It ain't big for him.
He's straight.
Like,
He's straight.
Oh, all right, it's
He's
another
straight.
game we gotta do.
Yeah, you're right. It would be different if he went to Boise State or TCU or something like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like he truly embodies Nick Saban's personality. It really is that. It's like you don't see Nick Saban smile unless he's hoisting up that trophy at the end of the year.
Now this is one thing as well. I'm gonna say this. Looking at regular season, I know we're in the postseason now.
Yeah.
Philly starts slow traditionally.
Yes. They did it in the postseason.
And KC has at times as well.
They did it in the postseason. Philly started slow
can't-
against the 49ers. They could have lost that game.
You can't start slow
Against
KC.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if the refs call that non-catch correctly to Devontae Smith in that Niners game, we don't know how fast they would have started in that game, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So
I'm not arguing that point.
So
they could have lost. Listen,
bad calls change things all around.
Let's be very clear.
There are so many factors for this game.
Let's be very clear. As much as we praise the Eagles for what they've done this season, and we praise Jalen Hurts and all them boys, let's be very clear. Had Brock Purdy played the entire game,
that game wouldn't have been a blowout. Now I don't know if we'd have won, but it would have been a blowout.
I think y'all would have won. I really think they didn't start really clicking. The Philly didn't really start going
until both quarterbacks were hurt.
Everything was gone for the 49ers.
I just think I'm gonna cut you off. I think, and I'm not trying to take credit away, but I look at schedules and I look at opponents. I think Casey's more battle tested.
For sure.
I think.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a Cowboys fan right now. You let us get a bye and see New York Giants first round. We going to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. Really, to anyone who plays the Giants. KC's been more battle tested. You know what I'm saying?
And the only reason why, man, my bad, Steve. The only reason why the Giants even were in there. Look at all the NFC teams that were horrible this year.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It just fell. It fell like it fell
NFC
that
was
way.
really bad.
Yeah,
And we talked about that too. We talked about how bad the NFC was.
Oh yeah,
it was mid-season.
It
was mid-season, and we were talking.
It was like week 12 or 13, not even week 12, like week 11 or something.
I say whoever gets to the bowl between KC, Buffalo, Cincy, they're gonna win it. That's just my opinion. I said whoever gets there, they're gonna win. They're more battle tested.
I think we all agreed like that.
Yeah, we agreed.
Whoever's representing the AFC gonna win the Super Bowl.
The AFC was just much better overall than the NFC this year.
That's why when people are having these talks about Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders, I'm like, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, why would I do that? It's a clear path in the NFC. Why would I go to that division? Then now you got Sean Payton over there, and why would I do that to myself?
Yeah.
But the only thing is though, Green Bay don't want to send them to the NFC. So
I was going to say that. Thank you, Brandon. They're not going to send it to the NFC teams. They don't want to deal with this guy.
It'll be the Jets or the Raiders.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine him on the Jets?
Garrett Wilson.
That's a different show right there.
Hey, look, Jets versus Buffalo, Jets versus Miami. Man, shoot.
Well, wherever Rodgers does wind up going, is going to be interested in that division
after his blackout.
Yeah, it was a 4-day blackout, I believe.
4-day blackout.
Yeah, so he's going to decide what he's going to do after 4 days.
All right.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, look, the Super Bowl's on Sunday. Get yourselves ready. Get your food ready. Get your beverage of choice ready. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything. Okay.
I'm gonna be
get
at
your
work.
Beverage of choice ready. Get your food ready for the Super Bowl. Because after the Super Bowl, it's off season, and you know the off season every year is very interesting.
I'm gonna be at work.
And podcast gonna be on it, like we were last year. If you don't remember, or if you're new to the show since last year, check out some of our old videos from last year if you want to. Please do.
And sorry, real quick. And NFL honors come on Saturday, Friday.
I believe it's
Thursday.
Stand by.
Give me a second. Or if anybody beats me.
Now you might get it because I can't see it yet.
NFL honors. Come on, where you at? Where you at?
Thursday,
yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Thursday, February 9th. So we'll talk about that later. So yeah, anyway, NFL honors is on Thursday at 9 p.m. And like I said, Super Bowl's on Sunday, and then free agency starts pretty much after Super Bowl. Hey, there's a language in Derek Carr's contract. He's going to be traded by next Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yep.
That might be a topic of discussion next week.
Next week's show gonna be interesting.
Yeah, because the deadline is next Wednesday. Well, Tuesday, Wednesday. So,
or else they got to give him $40 million.
They gonna hurry up and get him out of there.
Yeah, so it's interesting, guys. Hey, it's already hit. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, is heating up. Okay, so just like all you fans out there, we are just fans, just like you guys. All right. That way, Steve White, wide receiver, Morgan State University, hands better than Chris Carter. At an angle, Swisher House Remix, H-Town, Run and Shoot City, Houston, Texas.
So I don't get fined.
Middle linebacker that makes all the defensive calls. Panel 316. What's up? Down below, the quarterback that runs this thing. Hey, right here, Trish TV. There you go. And I'm the NFL Encyclopedia, the Wildcat quarterback that runs this whole thing. Quarter host, Coach Williams. Y'all have a good night. See y'all next Tuesday. We're going to have a whole lot to talk about starting next Tuesday baby. And further out for the offseason. Let's get it. Peace.
Peace.